Today is Saturday, March 1st, 2025. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for Survivor 48, Week 1.
Yep. I have that 2020.
A drama queen.
I'm a drama queen? Okay. I'm just trying to do something a little different with the lead in there.
I love your flair, darling.
Okay. What I was going to say was every time I hear you say 2025, I have a shock reaction. 25? We're 2 months in, beginning of the third month here, and I'm still having that reaction.
Yep.
I'm sure if I were still writing checks, I'd still be writing them wrong. Somehow 2025 catches me off guard every time.
Yep, it just hasn't sunk in yet. Mm-hmm. If you were writing a lot of checks and writing it every day.
Writing the date, yeah. Yeah. Well, speaking of sinking in, that's really what we're here to talk about. How did that first episode, the 2-hour premiere, sink in? How did the super fans react to that? We've got, 19?
Yes.
We got 19 super fans checking in on week 1 to share their thoughts, and then maybe even some predictions for who might go next. Looking forward to hearing all of that, your reactions, what you thought, who you liked, who surprised you, all the good stuff. Is there any business we need to go over before we kick it off?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, and if for some reason you stop talking during this, it's because you got some pain that you're managing, right? So
yeah,
we may shift over to having me read everything.
To wonder if I have a dry socket or if the stitches are infected or what the heck, why am I still swelling?
Yeah.
Why is it so red? Why does that hurt so much?
Yes, all of these things.
But I'm going to give it a go.
All right. That's her call. Let's kick it off with Pete.
All right.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Oh, yeah. So glad Survivor is back, and this 2-hour premiere delivered for me big time. So I'm going to let out a great big that last grid of Stephanie is out of the island. She had it coming. I had bad vibes from her from when I saw her pre-game. I thought she was goofy looking. She maybe could have offered a little, but she didn't really offer much at all. I'm sure Stacy, you and Joanne said it in your recap there. First, she didn't do good in the challenge with the puzzle, even though Kevin lost it with her. But I don't know if she didn't have as much of an effort as Kevin had, and her social game wasn't as good either, as only Mary was working with her. Clearly, you could see it. Kevin, Kai, Cedric, and my homeboy Justin, were working together right off the bat, which is huge, and that led to Stephanie getting voted out. And how about Kai finding the clue of the Beware Advantage and working together with her alliance, Cedric and my boy Justin, to figure out the colors, the codes of the animals there, figure out the word listen. We'll see how good use she makes of it, because it looks like Kevin now might be on to her based on the next one. Mitch, I was really surprised about. I thought he was going to have a hard time, but he seemed to have a pretty good at it in the premiere. David, you knew was going to be this goofball, thinking he's super strong and good. I know Probst has said it in his interviews there. I'm not digging David too well. I'd love for him to get blindsided if Orange goes. And Charity, I was a little disappointed in her her because it looks like Camellia there, because Camellia is the weakest of that team. Saw her on the outs, and she got Kyle, David, and some of the others against Charity. I think Charity's going to work her social magic. I really like her for sure. And Christy seemed to be all right too. She was working with David and Camellia and Kyle there, and I give Kyle credit. Not only when they lost that first challenge, he didn't bring home the pot. They didn't win the pot against Kevin, but he worked a good social game, and he's likable. I'm digging Kyle too for sure. And that Super Force Purple team, they're the team to beat for sure. Studs like Joe, Shahin, and who would have thought Thomas was the weakest of the guys there? He would be working with them, the California boys, as they call themselves. And Bianca, I was surprised with her. She's delivering a solid social game and did good in the challenge there. I would worry about Star. I think she's ostracizing herself, trying to find the idol. If that purple team somehow does lose, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Star that goes home. But I don't see that team going here. Either Green will go again, or it'll be Orange. And for Green, I could see it next being Mary. But it was a solid premiere, guys. Have to check out if there's any good extra clips coming out. And I made my votes for Survivor 50. Let's focus on 48 right now. Take care. Woo.
Whoa, thanks, Pete. Yeah, I think the 50 is going to keep interrupting all season long. And it's close to filming, too.
Yep, that's that's the whole point, is to bring that in and get everybody hyped about it and let everybody participate.
I think they're giving away trips to go out there, like 5 trips, something like that.
You said that. I ain't said anything.
To see 50. I thought it was to see 50, but that's going to be really close. That's going to be challenging for some people that all of a sudden win and then, to make arrangements to get there. That'll be interesting. I went ahead and voted on the tribe colors and have fire making and all that good stuff. That was real quick and easy. It just took a few seconds to go through and vote. The interviews with Stephanie were interesting. She basically said she never got any traction with anyone, maybe a little bit with Mary. Mary obviously allied with her a bit there, but she made it sound more like it was them. And I kept thinking, from what I'm hearing you say, it was you. You didn't make those connections. For some reason, they chose not to work with you. And I think it had something to do with you. But anyway, she said she knew. That's why there was no question for her to play her shot in the dark. It was very, very clear. And Mary encouraged her. She said, if you're feeling that, definitely play it.
Yeah, well, it just didn't work for her.
And there were some extra stories about Kevin getting hurt and why they didn't end up showing that. Although it was confusing when I read the Mike Bloom one, it sounded like they brought medical in afterwards. But when I was reading through the Dalton Ross one, it sounded like they stopped the challenge before it was over to bring medical in. So his shoulder did get dislocated and they did have to reseat it. And he described it as a pretty significant injury, that it was torn and dislocated, his shoulder.
That's very serious.
Yeah. And Stephanie said that she was helping him put it, make a shirt into a sling and helping him get his arm into the sling at night, but he was real cautious. He didn't want other people to see him that way. Stephanie, Kevin, and Mary were sleeping on the beach, and Cedric, Justin, and Say were sleeping up in the shelter. She said the shelter was awful. And a representation of the quality of the tribe, something to that extent. So she had no desire to sleep in the shelter. Anyway, she was helping him, and he was hiding his injury. But it sounded, and then I think I saw it was a tweet he did or a post on Instagram, and he described it as torn and dislocated.
And then it took how long before he really recovered?
He said it took months. Yeah, interesting. I don't know what that bodes for Kevin, how well he's going to be able to manage.
Well, he went right out there and did the journey, so...
He also got painkillers when they reseated his shoulder. I guess there's somewhat temporary, but they did hit him with some of that. So I don't know if that maybe helped.
Back in,
Yeah, because it's not a painless procedure to reseat your shoulder in its socket.
Okay.
Enough?
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep going. Let's check in with Robert.
Hey, Joanne, Stacy, and Survivor fans. This is Robert from Canada calling in. I hope that everyone enjoyed episode 1. As far as premieres go, I thought it was just okay. I know Jeff loves this idea of mud symbolizing the birth into the game, but when they do it in the first challenge, when you're seeing these players on the beach for the first time, even if you've seen their faces in the roster and stuff, it makes it really hard to tell who is who, and I wish that they wouldn't do that. I'm guessing in the preview when they showed medical getting called in, that was probably for them to look at Kevin's shoulder, but they decided to cut that out of the episode. As far as my predictions for this episode, I had a few things right, but a lot more things wrong. As far as what I had right, I had both Sai and Stephanie in my bottom 3, which I think made sense. Unfortunately, I didn't pick Stephanie to go. And I also thought that there would be a bro alliance formed right off the bat, which I'm glad there was, and my USB Shahin is part of it. I also knew that Kyle would do really well in this game, and even though he lost the challenge early in the game, I think him helping out Kevin was really smart because I see both players making it to the merge most likely. And so I think doing that really solidified a bond, and I could see them becoming a force later on in the game. So I think that was pretty smart, not wasting that opportunity entirely. Now, for things that I was wrong about, I don't think I gave Camilla that good of a chance in the game, but I think what she lacks in physicality, she'll make up for in strategic gameplay. I think Thomas did better than I thought he would, and I don't think I gave the pizza guy Justin enough credit, although I think he's going to run out of pizza metaphors by episode 2, but he's doing better than I thought he would. I thought Cedric would be a bit more physical, and I think he's maybe not going to do as well as I thought he would. I thought Charity would have a better social game, but I think throwing someone's name out so early in the game when you don't know how that person's viewed by the other players is not a great social move. I thought that Joe might do well in the game, but I think his desire to make people feel proud of him above all else will end up spelling his demise, and I wish he would just focus more on playing a good game honorably and let that speak for itself, so I don't think Joe's going to do as well as I thought either. And lastly, Mary. I had no take on her at all whatsoever, but she actually ended up being one of my favorite players this episode, and I really like her personality in contrast to Sai's no-filter personality, and I'm really excited to see how Mary does in this game. As far as my predictions for next week, I could see the same tribe losing again, and I'm kind of hopeful that despite having an idol, that Sai is the one to go home. She's playing way too hard, and as I already said, her personality kind of grates on me. I thought it was funny when she solved the puzzle finally that she thanked all the women in her life, but she didn't thank Cedric, who actually helped her solve the easiest word unscrambling ever. So I thought that was kind of funny. But anyway, I'm looking forward to hearing all the other fans' feedback, and that's it for me. You guys just take care.
Excellent. Thanks, Robert. Next up, we got a call from Rebecca.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Rebecca calling from Oahu, and wow, I just finished watching the premiere episode, and that was wild. It's so funny because I had a feeling that Vula, the Green Tribe, was definitely going to be the first ones at Tribal Council, and I was vacillating and vacillating. Did I want to vote for Kevin? Did I want to vote for Stephanie? I just had this, from the moment I saw Stephanie's picture, I was like, oh, she's going first. She looks a little annoying. She seems a little loud. But in the end, I just had this feeling, maybe it's going to be Kevin. But then as the show went on, I absolutely fell in love with him and I didn't want him to go. And then Say was playing so hard and so aggressive, I didn't want her to stay. But in the end, Stephanie, it was Stephanie. I lost a save point first episode, but it was so fun. Okay, I really like the Loggy Tribe so much. I love Joe the firefighter, and I love the bond that he formed immediately with Eva. This is a really cool cast. I have a very warm feeling about everybody. I think Thomas is hilarious. I love Shahin. I chose him as my USB. And I love Joe. He just seems like a really cool, decent guy. On the Siva tribe, the only person I really don't like is David. He just seems a little full of himself, and I have a feeling he's just going to continue to rub people the wrong way. Mitch is very endearing. Kyle is very sweet. Camilla, really cool. Charity and Chrissy, also very, very cool. And back to the Vula tribe, bye-bye Stephanie. Mary and Justin and Cedric, I like very much along with Kevin, but don't really care for Sai. but we'll see what happens. That was a really fun first episode. Can't wait to hear what everybody else has to say. Starting off with a solid 3 points in JSFL and getting my feedback in early. Bye.
Good job. Thanks, Rebecca. Next up, we got an email from Mary in Maryland.
I'm so glad we're all back together talking about our favorite show. I enjoyed the 2-hour premiere, of course, but as always, it's still not enough time to get to know everyone. The first vote out went even better than I could have dreamed. Of course, I did not choose Stephanie to go in JSFL, as I am used to rarely getting what I want when it comes to Survivor vote outs. I really did not connect with her, and I'm relieved not to have to continue to watch her play. Even in her exit interview, she spent a significant amount of time talking about how exceptional she is. It's great to be confident and appreciate yourself, but her ego seems out of control, and I don't find that fun to watch.
Ditto.
Moving on. Say is just as many of us expected. With her lack of filter, she played hard this week, but I think she will fizzle quickly. The guys went along since she was sharing info about her clues and needing their help to solve it, but I don't think their loyalty is to her at all, and I wouldn't be surprised if she were voted out soon. I felt like Kevin and Mary had a more real bond than the combination of Cedric, Justin, Kevin, and Say. I enjoyed how Eva directly communicated her needs to Joe and how he accepted it with an open heart. It will be interesting to see if the California girls end up bringing in Eva as a fourth based on Joe's connection with her, or Bianca based on Thomas's connection to her. David mentioned his body and muscles too many times, and as we can see in the previews, he will still be busy talking about his physical attributes next week. He needs to move past it. I'm liking Kyle, Justin, Cedric, Mary, and Kevin. I think Star seems isolated on her team. Camilla seems sneaky in a good way, and I love that she and Kyle found some common ground. I'll put in my picks after I hear everyone else's feedback, but I'm thinking it may be Say next week. All right, thanks, Mary.
There was an extra clip that showed the Loggy tribe, and they were all talking about sports, and Star was fitting in there, obviously, because of her sports background, playing semi-pro ball, and they were talking about running track and field. And then there was the odd one out was Bianca. And
I was going to say, yeah.
She was saying, I couldn't stand listening to them talk about sports. I sure wish they would stop. And then she told them, when they asked her if she did anything, she said she had run some track, but she was mostly into theater in high school. So she didn't even remember what events she ran in track. But they were talking about sports nonstop. So there was some clicking that the Star was able to do in that sense. And then there was another extra video in Siva where David failed to deliver on his promise to make fire without the flint. He was trying the bamboo saw, and he got smoked, but he didn't actually get it going. He didn't get an ember or anything like that. So he had a little bit of a humbling event, at least in that extra clip.
I was going to say, ouch. That hurts the ego.
Maybe, I don't know. That's a mighty big ego
I didn't say
he's
it
got.
damaged it.
Yeah.
Just hurt it a little.
Yeah.
Momentarily.
Mitch said that for him, watching the effort that David was putting in actually inspired him, though. So it didn't lessen David in Mitch's eyes in any way.
Okay.
Next up, we got a call from Johnny.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy, it's Johnny from Wisconsin. I am wishing you guys the best. Joanne, especially praying for you for that tooth extraction. Sounds awful. Hopefully you're better pretty soon. Boy, as for the show, I stayed up till midnight on Friday night to get it in, and was it worth it? Although I had Say as my vote out for the first, I was one shot in the dark away from getting the 2-point bonus, but that's all right. She'll go soon enough. Although if Green loses again, which they look poised to do, I know Joanne was ringing in my head. She's saying, oh, these are the puzzlers. But yet we're like, we'll see. We'll see if maybe Kevin and Mary can work together and get something done. If not, I mean, Mary, as impressive as a start as she got, because I had her really low in my rankings, you know, she seems to have the tools. She could make the merge with it, but if they keep losing like this, I mean, she's clearly in trouble. On the other hand, Say's probably going to use her idol if they lose, so she'll probably stick around a couple more episodes. If Orange loses, though, I mean, nobody there seems really impressive so far. I mean, Camilla is causing chaos. Eventually, that'll bite her in the butt. You could see Charity maybe not off to a great start. She can rebound. She maybe just has to get a little scrappier and see who she can bring in. And then if Purple loses, we see Star. I mean, you're off by yourself. That's the cardinal sin of Survivor. You don't just do that. Honestly, the most shocking part of the episode was probably when Kevin and Kyle came back, especially for Kevin. Going on the journey made him valuable? What luck. I mean, he clearly wasn't really in tune with everybody yet. He didn't, and nobody knew who he was. So what he had to do was come back, and everybody had already made plans, including him in it. It's like he was a free agent, a +1 that everybody wanted to add in. So when he came back, everyone was like, yeah, I want to add you to this plan, add you to this plan. I'm like, I can't believe going off by yourself in a journey worked. But in this instance, early in the game, I think it does. Maybe later in the game, it hurts you a little more. Yeah, otherwise, I thought it was a pretty solid episode. I think most people are kind of where I saw them. Thomas, even, I almost picked him as a USB. I was really just that close to picking him as a USB, but I knew he'd play a little too hard. He's gone after like first, second, third vote after the merge for sure. So I'm much more happy with Cedric. Cedric is my USB right now. He shouldn't be too much of a threat for the early game, and later, hopefully, he has the endurance to keep going. But yeah, otherwise, good to hear from everybody, and happy first day of March.
Thanks, Johnny. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Pat.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy, this is Pat from Springfield, Missouri. This morning I'm driving through the desert in New Mexico, and welcome back. Missed you over the winter. So I'm driving, so it's hard for me to look at names and pictures and so on, but I'll do my best. So starting out on the beat, I did not like how Jeff had Mitch speak out first. I found that odd, or I don't know, I guess maybe a little troubling for myself that Mitch has made it known that he's going to be uncomfortable around his tribe, afraid of how they will accept him because of his speech impediment. And then Jeff has him speak first, and I know that was done on purpose, but I just didn't really like it. It was almost like he just put him on blast, and I felt uncomfortable for the guy. Now, maybe that's just me and my being uncomfortable watching it, but I just felt bad for the guy. I thought maybe give him a minute to catch his breath and then let him address his tribe whenever they get back. But that's just me. Oh, she seems like she is playing super hard, but that could just be an edit. We don't know that. But am I the only one that thinks she's the twin of Mary Ann from a few seasons ago? I mean, to me, they just look just alike, but that's okay. And I can't remember the lady's name, but the one that called out Charity, and Charity is my girl, so I definitely took offense to this, that she's my USB, and called her out in the very first episode, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, here it goes. I'm going to be one of those poor people that loses their USB in the first episode. But Charity skipped by, and thank God for that. But then Stephanie. So, Stacy, I'm like you. People that end their sentences or their words with that going up in their voice, like it's a question or whatever, is one of my super pet peeves. So I was glad to see her go. Now, I'm all about hippies and living your life and this and that, but Survivor Island is not the place to live your life. Like, go out there, play to win. Don't go out there and stare at the stars and stare at the sun or whatever. I know that's her, and I know that's why she was picked to be on the show, but come on. I'm so tired of these type of people that are just there because they're different. I want to see people that want to be on the show, that want to win, that have learned how to make fire, that have maybe slept outside of their bed one night. Like, I'm tired of these type of people that Jeff or whoever decides to go be on the show. But having said all that, it's still the greatest show ever. Haven't missed an episode since the very first season, and thanks to you guys, you just make it better. Till next time, see ya.
Excellent. Thanks, Pat. Next up, we got a call from Brandon.
Hey there, Joanne and Stacy. It's Brandon from Indiana with my feedback for season 48, episode 1 of Survivor. I will say just off the bat, it was a very enjoyable watch. I had a great time with the chat group that I was watching with. I wasn't blown away. When I compare it to Australian Survivor, without any spoilers, I just want to say that the Aussie Survivor I thought had a better first episode versus this one. But at the same time, I still am loving this cast, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here. I have a lot of thoughts on the show, so I really wanted to focus on a scene that I thought almost just went beyond the game for me personally. I'm not necessarily on the spectrum as far as I know. I've never been diagnosed. I do have a lot of friends that are autistic, and the Discord chat group that I was watching the show with had a number of autistic people in the chat. And so when the Eva scene began and she was just explaining her situation, how she moves through life and how she's been able to overcome certain aspects and the way that this situation might affect her game in Survivor was really impactful for me. I thought it was great. I saw a number of people in the chat group talk about how much that meant to them just to have that representation on television and have it be discussed in a way that's human. It's not the way that some of these documentaries and the news is talking about autism. It was just, this is a person who's living their life and going through some things, and this is how they deal with it. And to see her open up to Joe and not have Joe take the cynical aspect of it and turn things on her or use it to his advantage in any way, but just to accept her fully and really take that to heart. I was tearing up while watching the show. I've been getting choked up trying to talk about it with other people. It meant a ton to me, and I thought that it was maybe the best thing I've seen on a Survivor program in years. I thought it was just so great to see that scene play out. I know Stacy was talking a little bit negatively about the way that the things that it means for Joe's game specifically, but even with that aspect out the door, I loved this scene, and it's definitely the most memorable for me of this first episode, and it made me want to root for both Joe and Eva. It's setting me up to be disappointed or upset when someone stabs them in the back, I'm sure, but for right now, I'm definitely pulling for those two. I didn't have either of them in my, USB, but I definitely want to see them do well, and I'd love to see that pair at least make it to the merge. We'll see from then on. My other thing I wanted to talk about real quickly before I go is just how much I hate Shot in the Dark. I want it to go away. I think it takes so much of the drama out of the tribal council in a situation where we could have had a 3-3 tie depending on which way Justin goes, and we get that special tease of a confessional in the booth. And then it doesn't even matter because one of the players threw their vote away and isn't safe. And so it really took the air out of my sails at the end of the episode. Can't wait to hear what everyone else has to say, and we'll definitely be listening to the podcast throughout the season.
Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you for sharing all that, Brandon. That's awesome. I'm so glad that was such a good experience, and to draw attention to how it affected so many different people.
Mm-hmm. If there's one lesson that we've learned over and over again on Survivors, how powerful representation can be.
Yes.
I mean, you get it in other walks of life, other aspects of things, but even here in the intro, in the marooning, you got Kevin talking about what seeing Yule meant to him, and Mitch talking about seeing how Christy handled everything in Brazil, and that's something that has been with them, integrated into their life this whole time.
Right.
So, yeah, I think we definitely got another one of those moments with Eva this season. Good deal. Thanks, Brandon. Next up, we got an email from Tara in New York. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad we're all back together for season 48. The premiere had a good mix of excitement, emotion, and strategy. Breaking the fourth wall during the intro was really different, but kind of fun. I feel like the Joe segment may have been leading us to something big happening eventually. After hearing his history, I hope he's able to play the game for himself. That is the big question, I think, at this point.
I really want to know what's going on with him, because I feel like there's so much underneath that hopefully will come out during the season.
Even though I'm not really into the challenges, I enjoyed them. I felt really bad for Kyle after he broke the glass bottle, but it was smart to create a quick connection helping Kevin. Speaking of Kevin, I'm very surprised that I actually like him so far. He seems to be in a good middle position along with my USB Justin in the Vula tribe. Star is another player that surprised me simply for being so quiet. I hope she lasts long enough to see more of her personality. I was also a little worried about Camilla before the season, but so happy to see she is playing well and will be with us for a while. She's going to be the one to watch after pitting everyone against Charity. I almost picked Thomas or Shahin as my USB, and they both look great in the California Girls Alliance along with Joe. Such a fun alliance name too. I can't wait to see more. I think we could eventually see a rift in that alliance if Joe goes overboard trying to protect Eva too much though. I think Thomas and Shahin will choose Bianca over Eva, and conflicts could arise. Vula looks like they could be the disaster tribe this season, though, indeed. Say is a tornado, and I actually had her as my first vote out until the last minute when I changed to Stephanie. Even so, I was kind of cheering for Stephanie by tribal council because Say started to come off a bit like Rome to me. I think the tribe might see how hard she is playing and work with Mary to flush her idol. I love that my USB Justin is in the middle right now, even though he seems like a horrible liar. Fingers crossed he makes it to the merge. I'm waiting to see more from Mitch, Chrissy, and Cedric, along with clueless, cocky David. I love the recap, and I'm so excited to hear from everyone else after a great premiere episode. Thanks as always, Joanne and Stacy. Can't wait to hear what everyone else has to say before next week. Thank you, Tara. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Anderson.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Anderson from North Carolina calling with my feedback for week 1. Alright, so I thought I'd picked Mary to go home, but apparently I picked Camilla. So I thought I could get 6 points instead of 2. But yeah, my USB Cedric has been good. I think the only person Say might play the idol on besides herself would be Cedric. She's the one who solved the bird puzzle to help her get the idol. But I think I'll turn on her next week. I think either Say is going, or on the Purple Tribe, Star might be going. Shahin gave a giant reaction to who would get voted out next week, like who he would think. I think they're going to be targeting shit. I think they're going to be like looking at Shahin or looking at somebody, but Eva and Joe are tight. So I don't think they'd get rid of Eva. So I think Star, Bianca, or Say might go. I think Charity can tell the other people that Camilla is twisting stuff around if they talk to her about it. I think this may be the first time people have found the idol clue, like the pieces to solve and get the idol before they actually find the idol. That's what the Siva tribe did. Yeah, thank you, Joanne, for believing me that I could get the parody in. And I sent in 2 emails about me wanting to take part in the side challenge, but I don't think you got those. But, oh well. See you next time. Bye.
Thanks, Anderson. Good job. We went back in and checked the spam folder, and that's where they had gone. That's why we missed them. Sorry about that. We got you added into the side challenge. Next up, we got a call from Parker.
Hey, it's Parker from Indiana, and I feel like we got a really solid premiere tonight. Across the board, some really standout players, and I was going in worried about this cast. I was like, I don't know if they'll deliver, but I think we got another solid group. That Green Tribe's a mess, that's for sure. And they're also definitely the weakest, so that's a little concerning. I think we're going to be seeing them back there next week, especially when your strong guy, your tank, gets injured in the first challenge. Mike Bloom posted an article right after the episode that Kevin actually did dislocate his shoulder, and Dr. Joe had to pop it back in. Who's to say if he's good to go or not? That could pop out again in the future, so we'll see about that. If your big, strong guy is significantly smaller than the biggest guy, and then also Joe, then you might be in trouble. And also, none of their women seem that athletic, so I think they're in trouble. But I did lose a safe point, unfortunately. I had Stephanie safe. I did not think, okay. After the immunity challenge, I was, all right, she's toast. I'm losing a point. But then as Tribal approached, I was, or it's Say. Because Say's playing really bad right now. I don't know how she is in majority and has a really, a solid alliance, an idol, and is playing this sloppily. That's crazy to me. But I also think that she very well could be joining Stephanie next week. So that's a high possibility because I think that Kevin and Justin like Mary more than her, and I see them possibly flipping it to save Mary. So we'll see about that one. Other tribes, Orange Tribe, fun. I really like Camilla. I had her as my vote off because I thought she just like wouldn't fit in, be kind of annoying. I don't know, but she seems awesome. I like how she's just throwing Charity under the bus. Yeah, so that I think she's playing great. I like Kyle. He struggled in the beginning, but you know what? I like him. Seems like a cool dude. David, about what I expected. That's rough. And freaking Chrissy seems wild. She's giving like Amy from Guatemala vibes for me. Wild. And Mitch, a good showing for Mitch as well. That Purple Tribe, stacked. Shahin, great. Joe, amazing. I'm so happy with that winner pick, especially after this week. I don't get emotional a lot watching Survivor. That got me a little bit emotional in the moment with him and Eva, and I think she definitely went to the right person. Now, it could trip him up later down the line or very early in the season. Who knows? Especially depending on how much Thomas wants to pull for Bianca. But come on, man. Who cares? That's such a sweet moment. I don't care. Team Joe all the way, baby. But no, that Purple Tribe, definitely my favorite. They all seem great. I think Star is the only one that's kind of like, yeah. But the rest of them, I'm all for. Great premiere. Just, wow. I'm amazed by how bad Say is playing. That's so bad. But yeah, no, that's all I got. I will see you all next time.
Great job. Thanks, Parker. Appreciate that energy. Next up, we got a call from our Shahin.
Hello, Joe and Stacey and Towards 5 fans. Hope everyone is well and safe. So there was a good reason why you didn't hear from me. I'm in the jungle, guys. All jokes aside, definitely rooting for Shahin in this season. He's my number one. I'm not playing Joseph L, but if I had to beat a one person, and it'd have to be him. And his name, interestingly, is spelled a little bit different to mine, but it's the same name in Persian/Farsi. There's a few different ways you can have it spelt out in English, but his is actually the phonetic version, I'd say, the proper way of writing it or pronouncing it, Shahin. But we all say Shahin or Shaheen, or it doesn't really matter. It is what it is with that one. But everything aside, he is brilliant. Just so enigmatic. And in Jabik, you guys discussed how he said that he was a bit put off with regards to any physical activity and didn't really rate himself, but he looks in okay shape, to be honest. And him forming that alliance with Joe, who I think is it's just a weird game already to be able to start with this like story that he's built. It's a really good story, I guess, but no one, I don't think, has really done well with someone seeking something in the game. We've always seen mum on vacay, mum seeking something, but now it's dad seeking something, and they've always gone out before the merge. It's just strange. But overall, really nice alliance, and I really like the Purple Tribe. I don't see him losing for a bit, so positives for them. Orange Tribe, yeah, Camilla's surprised me so far. A bit savvy, bit less louder than I thought she'd be. Chrissy, not much from her to be able to go through. Kyle, yeah, not much. David, I think he's a bit of a D-bag. I think the whole discussion about big guy and ego and blah, 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 like that ego is being slopped on like just terrible margarine. It's just going on that bread heavy. Mitch, I really like. Charity, I don't have a really good read on, but a negative read. I just don't know what her game yet. I mean, I know it's early to be able to say that, but she's already burnt some bridges really early, and that's just something that will lead you to damnation in this game. The Green Tribe's the one where I think a lot of things are... There's a lot of trouble going on in there. I think they is really like abrasive, and I guess that she won over people with, I think, the alliance that she holds with Cedric, to be honest, because it looks like Cedric has a lot of sway already, and Justin and Kevin are the swing votes. But I think, and I hope it doesn't happen, but it looks like Mary could be on the chopping block already, because it looks like Kevin swayed from what seemed like a strong initial alliance to then get Stephanie out. So I really hope that Kevin swings back and they get Say out, because I do see him going again. I think this is a weak tribe, and I thought Kevin would be stronger than what he is, but he wasn't, and yeah, I see him going back. But it's not going to be as good as last season, but I still think this is a solid game, and I think we have a really, really standout player in Shahin. I know it's really early, but I just see some good things from him. So thanks to all that you do, and yeah, thanks. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks, Shahin.
I agree. I actually really debated on choosing Shahin.
Yeah. The charisma was working in JSFL for sure.
Yes. Yes, it was. And I was surprised that he talked about his physicality, too, because, it's like with Mitch, when you see the pictures of their actual bodies, they both look strong to me. Mm-hmm. I thought, well, they're not muscle bound like David, but sometimes those people do worse because of the lack of calories to sustain those muscles. And I just have a feeling about David. This is going to sound weird, but I kind of think he seems very cocky and overly confident, but I think he's insecure.
Okay.
It just feels like when people
all evidence to the contrary, but
I know, but I just kind of
you think he's compensating for that?
I do. Yeah. I kind of do. So I guess I'm kind of cutting him a little slack for that. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. We'll see.
Well, what a great contrast between David and Shahin and David and Joe. Contrasting them is very telling.
I believe Shahin will be a lot more cutthroat than Joe can be. I'm not sure Joe can. He
won't let himself be because how he wants to be perceived.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that will totally. And Thomas would cut all their heads off if he thought he could get further.
Yeah.
But, and I think Shahin will do whatever he has to do. But I think he'd kind of be, I would think of him more as the silent assassin. Mm-hmm. Just really using his brains and maneuvering and that charisma. So, I don't know. I expect him to be a good player. And I guess I didn't really like Thomas or Bianca. Preseason. But I thought, okay. And same with Camilla. I'm like, okay, definitely underestimated her there. And I thought Mary might have something underneath, but...
Yeah, there's like a chaos triangle here. If you look at Camilla, Shahin, and Mary... and what they could cook up, that seems like it would be a very powerful, disruptive group of people.
Oh, you're going straight up and down the line and picking one from each there.
I went to where's that energy on the tribes? Just from the limited information we got in the first episode, who could be the most powerful with that kind of chaotic approach to the game? They could cause a lot of damage. It remains to be seen if Mary can survive to do that.
Yeah. Well, also, both Kevin and Mary used the words chaotic in their descriptions. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I had thought it's possible that they could bond with each other because they both described themselves similarly in that respect.
That power, that potential seems to be very strong in them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be fun to watch. Good deal. Thanks again, Shahin. Next up, we got an email from Celeste in California.
Hey there. Here are my thoughts on the first episode. I really liked the players this season. Oh, and knowing y'all used to be locals, when listening to Jabbik, you pronounced Vacaville like Vacaville. I was like, oh, he did not.
Come on now. I'm back in the deep, deep South. Pronunciation for me is a whole different game.
At this point. We already sound different to everyone, no matter where we are. I wanted to cheer for Joe, but his interview came off as a villain. He did seem more likable during the episode, though. I like the idea that we are going to be able to provide feedback for season 50. Way to go, Probst. I read an article that there was more to Kevin's shoulder injury, but it didn't make the cut. That's a shame. I enjoy watching the doctors come in and do their thing. I cannot say I will miss Stephanie. I can't wait for episode 2.
Yes.
One last thing. I always look forward to listening to Pete's feedback. Hilarious guy. All right. Thanks, Celeste. And there you go, Pete. You got a fan.
Yeah. Thanks, Celeste. Next up, we got a call from Jade-n-Christine.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Jade.
And Christine.
From Hawaii.
Aloha.
We're back. New season.
Back. New season, but we are still trying to figure out who's who.
Yeah.
And it doesn't help that when they do the mud, everybody just looks like gray blobs. Can't even see
who it is on which team or the colors. So that was not helpful for us. And I hate that mud.
It's really gross. I know Jeff loves it, but
birthing or something.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, so let's talk about our USBs.
Yes, USBs. So I had a USB picked out, and then I totally just changed my mind at the last minute. I'm very glad that I did, though, because I landed on Shahin, and I think he's going to be a strong player.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I settled on him because I really like the beard. It stands out.
It's a good beard.
It's a good beard. You know, I'm not one to really like facial hair, but on him, it's something magical is happening there. Yeah. And when I was watching his videos, I mean, at first I didn't like him because I thought, oh, is he being kind of fakey, kind of disingenuous? He had kind of that announcery kind of way of talking. But I think he's just really conscious of the cameras.
Yeah.
But he seems to be really good with his interpersonal relationships, and he's already made some strong alliances with the other California girls.
I love that name so much.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be really fun to root for.
Yeah. I went with Kevin. I promise I picked him before I knew that you picked him, Stacy. But
Sure.
This is the least amount of research I've ever done before a season where I played Fantasy Survivor. This season just snuck up on me. I had a bunch of papers to grade, and so I was like, oh no, I have to choose. And I liked Kevin's smile, and I was like, him. But I'm glad I chose him. He seems to be doing well. He's got a lot of options for himself.
Yes.
I was a little worried when he injured his shoulder, first thing, but he came back and it ended up being fine. So I think he'll be great. I'm going to also enjoy rooting for him.
Yeah, I'm so glad that he got pulled into that alliance.
Yeah, even when he wasn't there, it worked out for him. Yeah. And I was really surprised by Camilla, who I almost put as my first vote out because I was like, she's gonna be nothing.
Weak.
But but she was like really savvy, and she turned it around on Charity, and so I'm looking forward to seeing what she does with her strategy and her social game, because I think she's gonna be great to watch.
She's one to watch, definitely. And Thomas was another one that surprised me, that I had thought, oh, this guy, you know, he looks like kind of a quitter. I don't know, you know.
Yeah.
He's judging a book by its cover, right? It's like, oh no. But he really made some good connections with everybody. It wasn't just one person. He kept his options open, and he seems to be connecting with everybody, which is great to see.
Yeah, but I don't know what's going to happen, but we're looking forward to next week.
Excellent. Thanks, Jade-n-Christine. Great to hear from you again. Next up, we got a call from Justin.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and all the Survivor Superfans. It's Justin from Michigan. I'm going to get right into my takeaways from this awesome premiere of Survivor 48. I think Say is too much, doing too much too soon. I don't think she'll last long once she burns through her idol, if she doesn't go home with the idol. That is, if she doesn't adjust and throttle back. She's mentioned she needs to tone herself down and filter herself more. That is definitely true. She had 21 confessionals, broke Tony's record from Winners at War, and Bianca and Chrissy only had one. So that's the spectrum we're dealing with here. I loved Eva and Joe's connection. I will agree with you, Joanne and Stacy. There's something deep going on with Joe, and starting off with that, learning that he's on the show, getting really emotional. I think it might all stem from his sister being the bigger fan, and then losing her somewhat recently to domestic violence. Now he gets this instant connection with a younger woman, and he's kind of put into that protector role, which could be symbolic for him protecting her like he couldn't his sister. So I think this might be his downfall in the end, but I do hope they both go far. Green is going to have an uphill battle to win a challenge. They will need one of the other tribes to screw up a puzzle to have a shot, I think. I liked the sweat savvy. I liked that there was different ways to go about it to complete the objectives. I also liked the beware advantage, the symbols and colors around camp. It was interesting. David was the one to first notice it without even finding the clue. We'll see where that goes on the other camps. I realized that Say could have played her idol after it was revealed whether Steph was safe from the shot in the dark. I didn't really think about that before, but it looks like once it's revealed that Steph was either safe or not safe, Say could have still played her idol. I think they need to change that if they're going to keep shot in the dark. I think you should have to either play your idol, put that into the calculation of risk. You need to either play it before it's revealed if they're safe or not safe. Next out, I will have either Charity, Star, or Mary. I'm leaning towards Mary because I don't think Green will win, but it could also be Star because it was showing She just wasn't fitting in with her tribe. I'm happy with my USB Camilla after episode 1. She is embracing being the agent of chaos without painting a target on herself so far. That's all I got, and I'm looking forward to what everyone else has to say. Thanks.
Fantastic.
All right.
Thanks, Justin. Next up, we got a call from Jill.
Hi, Joanne and Stacey. Hi, Survivor fans. Jill in the Outback here. I drive a Toyota Hilux. My favourite movie is Stardust, and I like my steak medium rare. It always takes me a couple of episodes to learn everyone's names, so I don't really have a great deal to say, but I just wanted to say hello. Good to hear everyone's voices again. Joe is all around Mr. Nice Guy and very empathetic, but it's going to ruin his game. And for Eva to win, she's going to have to do him over. So it can't end well for Joe, I don't think. Right. So far, so good. I tend to like everyone, except maybe Say. She's a bit too brash. And so people like that go, oh, this is just me, this is how I am. That's fine. You can be however you want. But it's how I am to not really like people like that. It's not that I dislike her. She just came out so hard and so fast. Like you can say what you want, but don't play games with my affection. I'm just looking at Paul's roster to remember who was who. And David, I think David's a little bit too good to be true. He's trying to be everything all at once, and I think he'll end up being none of those. I did like Camilla on that orange tribe, on the purple tribe. Yeah, I don't think we really got to know that much about most of them except the Eva and Joe thing. And the green tribe, Cedric was cool. I liked Kevin. And yeah, I was sad to see Stephanie go, but I think she was always going to be the first one off that tribe. So I wasn't overly surprised when she got voted out. That's probably all that I have. Hopefully I'll have more to say when we get to know the players a bit more. Great hearing everyone's voices again, and happy to have Survivor back. Happy days, everyone. Bye.
Excellent. Thanks, Jill. Next up, we got an email from Josh, the plush moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacey, well, another premiere is in the books, and I already need cliff notes and a conspiracy corkboard. Early episodes are always a challenge, but I'll probably know who's who by the merge. But here's my other observations. I love the opening scene with people learning that they were finally on the show. Shahin wants to eat others' lunch. Newsflash, the others don't have food either. Is it me or does Chrissy sound exactly like Sue Hawk? She's definitely in that same archetype, the Sue Hawk, Twylas, all that. So she got a very old school vibe, I think. The NBA had Fear the Beard, but Shahin scares me less than Thomas's weird mustache.
Thomas's mustache seems out of place to me.
Out of place on his face.
Yeah, it just is like, that doesn't work, Thomas. It just doesn't.
Maybe that's what he was going for.
Well, he has kind of that baby face look. And then he puts this great big dark...
Caterpillar.
Yeah, looks... I don't know. It doesn't really look fake, but it kind of gives off that essence.
Okay. Tall Stephanie was overthrown by the 5 dwarves, says Grumpy. Kevin needs a dock. I like that. That's good. And she was the tallest person on that tribe by far, wasn't she?
Yes, she was.
Thomas fears being the weakest link. Dude, wrong show. Turtles are green, carrots are orange, so Kevin versus Kyle was the tortoise versus the hare. Eva hauling bamboo reminded me of the brooms hauling water in Fantasia. It did have that frantic, overwhelming feel to it. Do psychiatrists hang out at steakhouses looking for psychopaths to treat? It's ironic that loud, pushy Say's path to success involved the word listen. Kevin took a big risk letting Kyle anywhere near his glass jug. That's a great point. That would have been funny, wouldn't it, if Kevin was like, I don't know, man. This may not be your thing. Stephanie got booted because nobody could take 23 more days of snort laughs. I'm with you on that one.
Hey.
I will never hear the call of Survivor. I've got caller ID, true caller, and call blocking. If there's ever a brown tribe, we'll finally learn the Fijian word for mud. Chrissy heeded Jeff's call as she ate M&Ms on her couch. Did she buy them at a dispensary? Kevin shouldered the burden in the second chance challenge. Nice. Jeff said the chest weighed several hundred pounds. Did he mean 700? That's good. You worked that back in.
Oh.
Survivor Dirty Secret. Muddy survivors are sometimes replaced by stunt doubles. That's true. You wouldn't know it. I remember we were looking at some of those in the promo clips, and we couldn't tell who we were looking at for the longest time because they were so covered with mud.
It's like, who is that?
Yes.
Who is that?
Is that really Mary? I guess that's got to be Mary because I think that's Kevin. Jeff's directions to camp wouldn't work here in New England. No, take a left at Dunkin' Donuts. Star's a basketball player? I would have guessed Stephanie. When I need a construction expert, music exec wouldn't be on my bingo card. That's true. Sigh. Another season premiere of Survivor Speed Dating. Camilla wants to have fun while causing chaos. Boy, is she in the right place. David isn't a superhero, but he probably did stunts for one on TV. Survivor Baseball. While Say took big swings, Stephanie sat on the bench. and her hands. Mary made fire in 2 minutes. Is that foreshadowing for the fire-making duel? David's dingbat bravado is already rubbing me the wrong way. Say wants to crack the vault open. Sadly, Kyle is on another tribe. Eva's bad at social cues, but she found the most supportive person on her tribe. Cryptograms aren't Say's kryptonite. Her superpowers include judgmental eyes and critical breath. Joe uses a fire axe at work, so swinging the war club was second nature. The solution was listen, silent, and enlist were other possibilities. Just saying. Stephanie and Say are both air signs. Stephanie's a zephyr, Say's a hurricane. That's a nice twist on that. I agree with the cast. Gives off strong golden retriever vibes. Jeff says that they don't cast villains. Someone should have told Say. Next time Say holds grudges, Shahin talks sabotage, and David has 4 nipples. I'm sorry, but no joke I write can possibly follow that. Just give way, huh? Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanna and Stacy, for all you do. I can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks, Josh. Good job, buddy. Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Hello, Survivor friends. Jeremiah here with some feedback for the premiere episode of Season 48. Thought it was a great opening to the season. I liked the decision to add the reaction videos of the players. I thought that was a nice touch. I like the way they handled the Sweat and Savvy challenge. And actually, the more I think about this, there really wasn't a whole lot that I disagree with on how they handled the structure of the episode. Not a whole lot of surprises, and I give a lot of credits to all the preseason stuff we get with Mike Bloom. Mm-hmm. He really does help me understand a lot of these players. Now, I will admit I was a little surprised about how aggressive Say was. I knew she was going to play hard, but I didn't think she was going to play that hard. And going back to my thought about liking the structure, I really thought they did a good job of talking about this theme, about playing hard versus playing a more quieter game where you work more on social aspects, because those are very fun conversations to explore. I do think there is times that you're going to have to play aggressive, but I think in this era of Survivor especially, it's way more important to play a more milder game in the beginning, especially because you don't want that threat level to be up too high. When I looked back on the episode, I really feel like that Stephanie's approach in the end is definitely the best way to go. The episode made it very clear that the tribe was very concerned about Say and how aggressive she was playing, to the point where they didn't know if they could trust her. But I think once she got that idol, Stephanie's game was doomed. Now, luckily for Say, I think having the idol will clearly keep her in the game probably for a while. But I think in the end, though, if she's going to continue to play so hard, I just don't see it working out for her. Eventually, they are going to want to get rid of her. But it'll be fun to track to see how her game progresses. I do have a side question to ask you all. Is it just me, or did production really push the idea of having the players wear their respective colors in their clothing? I have not had a chance to go back and check like previous seasons in New Era, but I just feel like the colors on the players were wearing really represented their tribes very well, and it just seemed like it stuck out more to me this time. Did it stick out to you all? And I'll close with the saying that the one thing that definitely, of course, upset me was seeing the position my USB Charity is in. Oof, not looking good for Charity right away. So hopefully somehow, I do think that tribe's going to win a lot. So hopefully she can survive and make it to the merge so I can try to get more points for her. But I wouldn't be surprised to see if I lose her right away. Now, as far as who's going to go next week, I really think that Green Tribe's going to go back to Tribal Council. We're probably looking at Mary, I guess. I don't know, unless they go after Say now. I don't know. We'll see. But that's what I think is probably going to happen because I think all that Purple Tribe stuff is probably a red herring. All right, well, that's it for me. You all take care. Until next time, this is Jeremiah from Southern California.
Good job. Thanks, Jeremiah. I think Anderson's right. If Charity can recover pretty easily if she says, oh, no, Camilla must have been confused. She just misunderstood what I was saying. I don't think it's going to take a whole lot of heavy lifting for her to recover if she gets wind of what's happened. That's the big if there. What did you think of the colors? Did you think their clothes were signaling their tribal alignments more strongly this season?
I don't remember. They were covered in mud for a lot.
Shortly into
for
it?
the early on, but
yeah.
I don't...
I didn't notice that it was any dramatic difference from before.
They usually, some of them have coordinating colors, but
it's a big deal.
I'd have to go back and look. I mean, looking at the roster, you can see that both Shahin and Star are both kind of in Siva colors.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the orange, but... as far as the episode and what they wore out there.
These are the headshots from before the game begins, so they're not really dressed in what production picked for them. I remember really strong blues in 41 for that tribe, and so I guess I don't pay too much attention to it after we learned that production is the one that chooses their clothes for them. They tell them, hey, go get a range of things, and then they pick it, so... I don't guess it really stood out more, but I'm obviously not the best person to ask about colors. No. I have trouble seeing the difference between orange and green.
Yeah, I didn't retain that information. Sorry, Jeremiah.
Okay.
We'll look, but...
Yeah, we haven't gone back and rewatched yet, but we definitely will. Thanks, Jeremiah. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California, and here are my thoughts on Season 48, Episode 1. Right off the bat, I'm not a fan of the let's show what their life at home is like clips. I mean, I just want to see the tension of the beginning of the game going on. I didn't really like how it began. And we also got a ton of cheerleader Jeff time. If it's a choice between having an hour-and-a-half long show or cutting out all of this useless stuff and having just an hour-long premiere, I would take the hour-long premiere any day. And I can't believe I just said that. Anyway, my breakdown of the tribes are the Purple Tribe is the strongest tribe by far. I like the Joe and Eva alliance. I think that Joe's reaction to Eva was just the best. It was compassionate, and he's a good human. I don't think that he should be determined to give up his game to protect her, though. That's going a bit overboard, but I suppose that's the nature of personal connections. I hope that he remembers that it's a game and he needs to play his game, and I also think that it would be a rude awakening for him if Eva turns on him sometime in the future. That will sting. I hope that doesn't happen, but if it does, oof. I like Thomas way better than I thought I would. He's showing an adaptability that I did not think he had. So Thomas's stock is trending up for me right now. We'll see if it stays that way. Star has some red flags raised with the tribe. You don't want to be an outlier in the tribe this early in the game. Shahin had a good showing this episode. He's strong and he appears to get on well with his tribe, but I'm getting a villain vibe off of him and I don't know why. I don't know if that's what I heard from you or from others or if it's a gut feeling on my part, but my expectation is that he will be a villain this season. So we'll see if I feel the same way next week. Oh, and I think the California Girls Alliance name is stupid. I don't like naming alliances in general. That's very Big Brother. The Siva tribe is full of likable people. I like them all. The fact that Kyle lied about his profession, though, is a point against him. I like David's impression of his tribe mates being based on their favorite movie and how they like their steak cooked. It's a little quirky, but what else do you have to do out there? I agree with him, though, that Notting Hill is a classic. I love that movie. Camilla is playing a very good game right out of the gate. I think she's playing the best Phase 1 game right now. I liked her driving the bus back and forth over Charity analogy. That was very funny. And finally, the Green Tribe is definitely the weakest tribe physically. I think Say is playing too hard too fast. She had the "this is my season" quote, so I thought to myself, and I typed, she's either winning the game or she'll be first out. Well, she's not first out, so we'll see if she improves, because right now I don't think she's going to win the game. I wanted to like Stephanie, but I did not like the fact that she snorts when she laughs, so I'm not going to really be sorry that she's gone for that reason. So my overall impression was that the premiere was a little slow, but the first episodes of the season usually are. I can't wait to hear the impressions of others and see how everyone else liked this first episode. That's it for me. Till next week.
Thanks, Jen. Great to hear from you. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul, Louisiana here. And full disclosure, I only just recently saw the episode, and I haven't heard your recap due to a rather long Wednesday night and Thursday morning in the emergency rooms of 2 different hospitals. Taz had a knee replacement 2 weeks ago and ran into complications on Survivor night. Things are back on track, but he's back to square one again, and we are waiting for a ton of swelling to go down here. All I can say is thank God for pain pills. So, first things first, I did love the episode, but I really don't. And boy, can production make some mud. Now, my Jabbick player reactions that have changed include Kevin, Thomas, Kyle, and Chrissy, who sounds just like Sue Hawk. And I do officially like all of these players after seeing the first episode. How Kyle handled that water bottle breaking was wonderful, and it could pay off big time when a merge or a mix-up happens. And Thomas certainly keeps amazing himself, huh? To me, he started off the show just talking himself out of any possible friendships or alliances, but later on he became shocked to discover that perhaps he does have a solid footing in Loggy. Maybe Survivor will be a good thing for him. And I still like Charity, but I'm glad I didn't pick her as my USB because she's got a huge target on her back already. Kamala may not be strong enough to fire the gun, but she sure knows how to aim with it. She's a little social butterfly, isn't she? But what about Bianca, though? Did we see her? Because I'm drawing a blank here, even though I now love Eva and Joe, with Joe pretty much being freaking awesome. And Shahin, who is my USB, was a great pick, if you ask me. I do feel bad for Cedric, and Kevin as well, because I think that Vula isn't going to go very far as a tribe. They made a good call in getting Stephanie out. There was just something cringy about her as Say constantly reacted to. That said, Say would have also been a good choice to go because she, and Star as well, are playing too hard and too fast. At least Say has friends on her tribe, while poor Star is just alienating herself from hers. You know, Star reminds me of Crazy Eyes on Orange is the New Black, and will most likely be the first one voted off of Loggy. Oh, and I skipped Mitch, of all people, who I absolutely adore. This guy is going deep in the game for sure. I just cannot stress how much I loved him. And on the other hand, there's David, who's even more of a tosser than I ever thought he could be. I'm sorry, but out of everyone on here, he just rubs me the wrong way, and I don't see that changing no matter what he does. And I'm afraid that's all I've got right now. Next week will most likely be better for me time-wise so I can think the episode through, but I wanted to get something in, and now was the best time for that. So everyone take care. Catch you all next week. Bye.
Thanks, Paul. Hope Taz is doing better.
Give him a big hug from me.
Well, there you go. There's a range of feedback on the premiere. We got likes and
I love it.
dislikes and people looking at it from all different points of view. I enjoyed all of that. Good job, everybody.
So I'm definitely leaning toward Vula losing again.
Jeff, in one interview, was talking about how they pick the tribes, and Vula just doesn't seem to measure up at all. He says they take into consideration all these different factors, but I think you're right. They're just going to get chewed up, aren't they?
I think so. And I don't know if it's just because I want it, but right now I'm leaning towards Sai going. Though
Say.
Say.
I did that too.
But I realize that it very well could be Mary or even Kevin if he has more problems with his shoulder. So
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised for Say to turn against him because of that, because he's not able to deliver that strength that they were counting on. How's it going to go down? It just seems like they're the most likely ones to go, and they have to maintain such a hard deception against Say if they're going to blindside her.
I think the three guys could pull it off to make her feel so safe, and because she's not going to expect it from those guys, I don't think. And if Mary plays her part well, and the guys do, that they could blindside her because she seems very overly confident that she's in a tight alliance.
It's definitely a complex scenario, and Mary's got to be the victim to pull it off. She's got to make Say believe that she knows that she's going to get voted out, and that's really hard to accept, that you've got to play that target so that you can blindside Say.
I think Cedric may not want to get rid of her, though. He does seem more aligned with her and in touch with her. With Say, yes. And so that could be the reason that Mary goes home, is Cedric won't do it.
So do they leave Cedric out? Because they don't need him.
No, they don't need him.
3-person majority with 5 left.
That would certainly, but how do you exclude him and risk not alienating him?
Well, you don't, but you have to keep it a secret. It's so hard.
I know. That's a difficult situation.
I think he's perceptive.
I don't know that Kevin and Justin would be able to do it or pull that off. It's one thing to hide it from somebody you want to leave, but to hide it from somebody you want to work with is harder. So.
And they would get all the credit, along with Mary, they would get the credit for the blind side. Tricky. It's possible. I don't know if they've got what it takes to pull it off. And if they can recover Cedric or not, because he's going to be thinking, oh, that must mean I'm next then, if we have to go again. And chances that we go again are good.
Yeah.
That's why I just think the balance here is just so wrong. I mean, you can't account for the fact that Kevin's going to dive into the sand when he gets to that net and completely dislocate his shoulder. But was he ever on the same... Did they have the same mix of physicality in this tribe that they had in the other 2 tribes? Seems like that answer is a clear no.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to seeing it play out, but I'm with everybody else who said, hey, Vula's going to go again. It seems like destiny at this point.
Yeah, it kind of does, in my mind anyway. But
it seems like you can easily come up with the 5 on Siva and the 5 on Lagi that will dispatch Vula again in the immunity challenge. The other 2 tribes are going to have to sit somebody out, but they've got versatility. They can do that.
All righty. So who are you choosing? As of this moment anyway. I mean, when you see the challenge, the previews and that kind of stuff, or the commercials.
Cedric, Justin, Kevin decided, especially Kevin, decided to play it safe and get rid of Stephanie instead of trying to say blindside. So Kevin's already let go of Mary once. Mary's going to catch a lot of heat from Say because Say holds a grudge.
Mary wasn't the one in jeopardy.
I'm saying they've already been willing to deceive Mary once. So I guess numbers-wise, you got to think they'll let go of Mary and that she's the next one to be voted out. That they'll keep play it safe. I don't either. I want them to pull off a big blindside and send Say home with the idol in her pocket, because if she had just played it a different way, if she could have been cooler about the whole thing, but she just, like everyone said, she played so hard.
And intense.
Yes. And she didn't have to go after Stephanie. Stephanie never connected with anyone. She didn't make a bond. The reason Stephanie got voted out was because Stephanie couldn't integrate with her tribe, but Say still went hard on her in that tribal council and made her feel less for how she chose to play. And she didn't have to do that, but it was all part of that no filter, I've got no filter, and this is how I'm going to play approach to the game. She had no finesse, so it seems like that would be...
It comes off more villainous, though.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And it seems like something in return, a blindside with an idol in your pocket, is the appropriate response to that kind of approach. Yep. It's just, I don't know. I think Kevin could. I don't know if Justin can. We didn't get enough of Justin to know. We did get a little hint that they view themselves as being in the middle of the tribe, and they're getting to decide. And we saw them decide Stephanie. And Stephanie said she knew it was her. She knew there was nothing there for her going in. So there was no surprise that she got voted out. I'm not sure that they can pull it off. Yeah, right now I think they're just going to take the path of least resistance, and Mary will go. Since they've already done it once, they're more likely to do it again for that reason. No. Even though it would be more exciting to see Say eat it. after she had just seen people. It would just
Talk about villainous.
Yes, well, yeah,
Okay.
I don't hide that. Even though they had just seen all the doofuses in season 46 go out the same way, that's fresh on their mind. They got to see the finale. They got to see it all the way through, all the goofs. The 47 season didn't see it all, but they had seen part of that. Will she play it? And then what do? I guess you still let Mary go in that case, and then Say has to scramble to try to find another, or she'll be the next one, and there'll be a tribe without women.
Well, maybe not if Kevin gets, re-injured again.
Yeah, he may.
We don't know how that's going to.
Yeah, he may be like Shrunk the skunk there that ends up having to take himself out due to the pain.
Okay, anything
We shall
else?
see. No, I think that's it. I enjoyed what everybody had there. That was great. I want to thank everybody who took the time to collect your thoughts and send them in, and especially the predictions. We also want to thank Hazel and Pat for your donations. We greatly appreciate your support. That bill just came due. For this month.
It literally came
It
this
really
morning.
did, yeah. So we got the bill, our hosting bill, and it was so nice to see those donations. Thank you both very much. We
Funny,
appreciate
I didn't
that.
think about that.
Yeah.
And if you're playing JSFL, don't forget to make your picks for one person voted out and 4 people you think will still be in the game at the end of the episode.
Well, we're looking forward to another 90-minute episode on Wednesday, and we'll be back then with our recap.
All right, have a good one.